Prairie Plant Girl here. Today I'm going to be planting some foxgloves. It's the Camelot mix foxgloves, and I'm really excited to get these started and see how they do for me. So the instructions on the back of my seed package say to start them indoors 8 to 10 weeks before planting out. And a little bit further down it says transplant outside 2 weeks before your average last frost date. So that means I need to be planting these 10 to 12 weeks before my average last frost date. And that's where I am. Today is the day. So I'm very excited to get these started, and let's get some seed starting mix out here and get these going. Come on. So some things you're probably going to want for this, or will need for this, are obviously your seeds, something to plant them in. Now you could use pretty much anything you like that has room for some roots to grow and some soil to be in, and you want it to have some drainage. So this is just a recycled seed tray from, well, not recycled, reused from when I've purchased some seeds, some bedding out plants at some point. I have my growing medium here. This is just a mix of Canadian peat moss and perlite. And if you don't like to get your hands dirty, you might want some gloves. I have my tag already made up to put on there so I don't forget what I planted in this thing here. And it might be handy to have a toothpick or a skewer or something and a little bit of water to moisten the end of it. And then you'll want something to set this tray in afterwards to contain any moisture and soil from coming out and getting all over your growing space. And you're going to want something to put over top. It could be a clear lid, some plastic wrap, or in my case, I'm going to be putting this in a tray made for growing seeds, and it'll have a humidity dome on top. And then you're going to want a really bright location. So you're going to want either grow lights or bright like south or west facing window. Now another thing with foxglove is they don't really want to get too hot. So my seed package says 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'll have to look that up because I'm Canadian. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that must be around 15 Celsius, but I'll double check that. So I'm going to have to find somewhere cool to grow these and get them sprouted, and I think that will be out in my garage under a grow light to give them the light they need but the cool they need. But the first things first here is we need to get something in this cell pack so we can get the seeds planted. Now again, they need light to germinate, so you can pretty much fill this up. Like I said, this is just a regular growing mix. I don't find seed starting mix to be all that important. If you come across big sticks or twigs or anything in your growing medium, just toss it to the side. I'm just giving this a little tap down there. Just you'll see, hopefully you can see how much the medium moved down in the pot there. That's just eliminating air pockets. You don't want to super compress your soil, but you want to make sure there's no air pockets in it. And then I'm just going to top this up with another layer of somewhat loose mix here. Now, peat moss, sometimes you'll get kind of clumpy, chunky things like that. That's another thing I wouldn't want right on the top. I don't care if it's down in the bottom, but on the top it might, I don't know, but I think it might slow down your seeds from doing their job there. So. Okay, now the fun part. Well, actually I kind of like have my fingers in the dirt too, but foxglove seeds are small. These ones are pelleted. So hopefully you can see that. They're in a little vial and they're pelleted, and you can see there aren't very many. So that's why I've just done one tray of 9 here, because I don't think I'll have a whole lot more than that. So because I purchased pelleted seeds, I can easily pick them up and set them in my seed container here. There actually might be enough to do a second one. If there is, I'll do a second tray. If they aren't pelleted, what you might want to do is just take your toothpick or your skewer, dip it in some water, and then I don't know if it'll work with the pelleted seed, probably not. With a really tiny seed, you could just pick it up with the tip of that and set it in. It makes it a little bit easier to handle very small seeds that way. If you just dip, touch your small seed, and then you can set your seed, just touch it down to the growing medium there. So because these are pelleted, I don't need to worry about that. So I'm just going to be setting them in their spot. Got 2 there. So I'll have enough to do another tray of these up later on. So for now, they're just going back into my little vial. Now I'm going to just gently give these each a touch. Now you can probably see I've put 2, because they're pelleted and bright yellow like that, put 2 or 3 in this case, it looks like, in each one of these little spots. And that's just because it gives me a guarantee of having 1 come up in each spot. Now I don't want to bury these because, like I said, they need light to germinate. The pelleted seed has a couple of purposes. A, it just makes it handy to, easier to handle. And 2, it's supposed to help with really small seeds. Sometimes they can rot easily. So it's my understanding that the pelleting helps to keep them from rotting. And I think it also helps to hold some moisture. A lot of the pelleted seeds, it's kind of a clay base, and it'll help to hold some moisture around the seed. So now, speaking of holding moisture around the seed, even though these need light to germinate, I'm going to take some vermiculite, just sprinkle it very lightly over the soil surface, and I can still see most of those seeds, but even the ones that I can't see, because I just put a really light dusting, and the vermiculite kind of reflects the light a little bit. So they should still get some light to them, and that'll just help hold a little bit more moisture on top of the soil surface. Now, my soil is pre-dampened, and it's very nicely damp. So I'm just gonna give just a light spray on top just to moisten that vermiculite. And then, like I said, these will be going under a humidity dome, and they'll be going out in my garage that's about 15 degrees Celsius under a grow light, and that will help to give them the conditions they need, which is bright light and cool temperatures to germinate. Don't want to forget to put that tag in. So there's my foxglove all planted up. Like I said, I have a few seeds left, so I'll probably do another tray with about 6 cells or so in it, just to use the rest of the seeds up, and then I just have to wait for them to sprout. Okay, so it has been 9 days since I planted these, and generally, rule of thumb is it should take 2 to 3 weeks for them to sprout. I had both these trays out in my garage in that 15 to 16 degrees Celsius range, but I decided to bring this one in a few days ago just to see if there'd be any difference between them sprouting. So this one has been inside in my grow room, and it's about 22 degrees in there right now. And I noticed this morning, and you won't be able to see it probably in the video very well here, but there are a couple of seeds coming up in this one here. I don't know if you can tell, but this right in front of my stick here, right here, is one of the first tiny sprouts. See that? And then there is another one and another cell over here. It's right here. So So that's the next little tiny sprout. So there's a couple coming there. They're very small, but like I said, it should be 2 to 3 weeks. And those, as you can see, are really, really tiny. I zoomed way in to see them. Hopefully they show up for you. So I expect I'll be seeing more right away here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.